Hey LyLy crew, it's your girl Miss LyLy, yours truly, back with another video, and today I'll be sharing my opinions on the new live action version of Monster High that came out October 6th. And comment down below if you grew up with the animated series from 2010 or you're growing up with the live action version that just came out October 6th, because I would like to know, so comment down below. And let's get right into my thoughts of this new live action version of Monster High. My first thought when I first started watching the movie was, where was Claudine's siblings? Because in the original Monster High, she has siblings, but in this new movie, she doesn't have her siblings. It's just her and her dad in the new movie, and I'm just like, where's her siblings? And also, why is Draculaura so mean in the new movie? Because in the series, she's a really nice vampire, so I just didn't understand that part, and it really made me mad. And also, to be honest, I don't understand why they were singing as well, because Monster High isn't a musical. Monster High originally isn't a musical, so that I really didn't understand, because originally it's an animated series. So it's just like, I didn't understand why they started them off with singing. Granted, they had their singing moment back in 2015, but as of 2022, I didn't understand why they were singing, because like I said, originally Monster High is an animated series, so you would think that with this movie they wouldn't be singing. And also, it was real people instead of it being animated. And it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't what I grew up with, so I can say that I was a little disappointed. But I'd give the movie like a 5 overall, I guess, because like I said, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't what I grew up with, so I was disappointed as someone that, and as a person that grew up watching Monster High and my favorite character was Draculaura, it was a little annoying to see her struggle with her bad abilities. Now, the fact that her dad was strict, that's one of the things that they did get right, because he was strict in the original. But everything else about her and a lot of the other characters, it was disappointing to see, because they didn't get a lot of it right. So, yeah. And why all of a sudden does Claudine and Deuce are interested in each other? Like, that doesn't make sense. Yes, they were friends in the original, but they were never interested in each other romantically. But now all of a sudden they are. So that part doesn't make sense either. And it's just like, yeah, these are just my thoughts and opinions on the movie, because this doesn't make sense as someone that grew up with it. And like I said, I'm a little disappointed, but these are just my thoughts and opinions. I was also disappointed to see that Cleo and Deuce broke up in this new live action Monster High movie, because in the animated series from 2010, they actually were in a relationship. So the fact that they broke up in this series didn't make a lot of sense, because like I said, they were together in the animated series from 2010. So why are they not together in this live action? That part of the movie didn't make sense either. And like I said, the whole thing where Gulia can actually speak English, she shouldn't be able to speak English. She should be talking in her zombie way of speaking, because in the animated series, that's what she did. She didn't actually speak English. So all of a sudden she can speak English, and that doesn't make sense to me either. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Now, one thing that did make me happy, as a person that grew up with the animated series of Monster High from 2010, I don't understand why they did a lot of these changes. Like, I know there's a new generation, but you still could have showed them the beloved things from the original. So, yeah, there's just a lot of things that I didn't understand, and a lot of things that I was upset about. But it's not a horrible movie. It's just the simple fact of, if you grew up with Monster High, you were expecting to see a lot of things from your childhood, and you weren't. expecting to see so many changes. And also, like I said before, I don't understand why Draculaura is struggling with her bad abilities, because in the original animated series, she didn't struggle with her bad abilities. But now all of a sudden it's a thing where she struggles so much with her bad abilities. And as a person whose favorite character, so I was disappointed as someone that grew up with Monster High. I wasn't expecting to see a musical, and also I wasn't expecting Cleo to be mean to Claudine Wolf, because originally in the series, she's friends with Claudine and Laguna and Draculaura and Frankie, so it's just like the fact that she was mean to Frankie, Claudine, and Draculaura, that didn't make sense either, because it's like in the original series they're all best friends, so you would think they would be best friends in this movie, but they're not. And like I said, Claudine has siblings, but in this movie she didn't have siblings and she just had her dad. And also that quite didn't make sense either, because in the animated series she had both of her parents and her siblings. So yeah, it just, a lot of it didn't make sense to me. And as like I said, as a person that grew up with Monster High, I was a little. Now, one thing I was happy to see is that they didn't change Headmistress up a whole lot. So I was happy about that. But a lot of the other things in this new live action Monster High movie just doesn't make sense. And why all of a sudden does Draculaura not know how to fly? She's a vampire, so when she turns into, she should be able to turn into a bat. But all of a sudden in this new movie, she's not able to turn into a bat, so it doesn't make sense. And now all of a sudden she's practicing witchcraft, but she's having trouble with her bat abilities. I didn't understand that either, because in the original animated series that came out in 2010, she never had a problem with that. But all of a sudden she does. It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, that just doesn't make sense to me. And as a person that grew up with Monster High, these are just my thoughts and opinions on the new Monster High live action movie. You can agree to disagree, but as someone that grew up with Monster High, I feel like I just had to say how I truly feel about this, because a lot of it didn't make sense. It's like whenever y'all came out with this, it's like y'all weren't thinking about also the people that grew up with it. It's just like, oh, this is for the new generation. And I get it, but a lot of this in this movie didn't make sense. Like I said, why did y'all turn it into a musical? Because originally Monster High was not a musical. So yes, I was very upset to see that, because originally it's an animated series. So I just don't understand why they were singing. And again, these are just my thoughts and opinions. You can agree to disagree. And also, subscribe to see more from yours truly, Miss LyLy. And don't forget that I have just wanted to remind you, LyLy crew, that I do have another movie review coming your way. And that will be on Hocus Pocus 2, which is on Disney+. And if you haven't checked it out yet yourself, you should definitely check it out. But I will be giving my thoughts and opinions when I actually watch the movie, because I haven't watched it yet. But stay tuned, because that movie review is coming real soon. Subscribe to see more from yours truly, Miss LyLy, and have a great night. Bye, you guys.